You've got questions, we've got answers. Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, answering the questions that new leaders ask us. Actually, it's our goal to help all leaders be more productive, successful, and confident. And one of the ways we do that is by answering questions right here. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, but also to make it easier for you to go back to find the ones that you might have missed. Today, I'm answering this question. Kevin, how can I stop micromanaging? It's a great question. Are you ready? Let's get started. That's the question. How can I stop micromanaging? I love it when people ask that question because they realize that it's a problem to do it, because it is something that we often do, is micromanage, right? So it's a good question, and there's two places to start, and we'll talk about both of them today. The first one is we need to start in our head. And the second thing we need to do is to start by sharing a bigger perspective. So let's talk about each of those two things a little bit in terms of how we can stop micromanaging. I say we because I've done it too. Number one, in our head. We got to get this right in our head before we can do anything else. Number one is, are you supposed to? Like, are you supposed to micromanage? The answer is no. Like, no one would say, the best leaders I've ever experienced were micromanagers. So we know we're not supposed to micromanage, and yet we find ourselves doing it for all sorts of reasons. Like we're acting like we have control when we don't, and we're trying to manage things in ways like so it will be done the way we used to do it, right? Or the way we would like it done. So the next question in your head is, do you want to? I mean, if you really want to micromanage, I can't help you stop. But if you really want to stop, then you've got a much better chance of being successful. Next, are you too focused on the how? One of the reasons we micromanage is we're so focused on how to do it. I want you to do it this way exactly. Do it exactly the way I was taught, the way I've always done it. The more you're in the how in your head as opposed to the outcome, the more likely you're going to hover, the more likely you're going to micromanage, right? And then the last thing is, do you know how to stop? Well, the way to know how to stop is to say, I'm not going to do it, is to ask for some feedback from your team. Am I micromanaging? And again, to get out of the how. Well, then the question is, how do you get out of the how? Well, you get out of that and you get out of your own head by sharing a bigger perspective. The second thing I said we would talk about. So sharing the bigger perspective is this: give people context. Here's what this work is about. Here's where it's heading. Here's why it matters. Here's who's going to be using this. Because a lot of times we watch someone doing something and we think, well, that doesn't make sense in the big picture, but they don't understand the big picture. Trust your people once you say, here's where this work fits in. When they have context, they can use their own experience, knowledge, and intuition to make better decisions and leave you feeling more like you can stay out of it. Right? In other words, if we don't give people the big picture and we stay in the how, do this, 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 and this, it's very hard for us to get out of it because they don't really know all that we know. The second thing is share the why. Part of context is why, but very specifically with why. What is this work used for? How does it make a difference? Who will be using it? How will they be using it? Why does it help us reach our ultimate goals? The more people see how their work fits into something bigger, the easier it will be for us to delegate, and the easier it will be for us to let go of it and not micromanage. And lastly, listen more. When we're just watching them, and then we want to go in and, oh no, do it this way, make this change, and we don't stop and listen to what their questions might be. If we'll ask more and listen more, then one thing that will happen is we might give the same advice, but it will be seen entirely differently. It won't be seen as micromanaging. It will be seen as helping, which hopefully was your goal from the start. To summarize, let me say it this way. I want you to think, how can I be helpful, not hover? Let me close with today's tweet. If you want to stop micromanaging, you must let go and provide more context for the work. When you do, you have a chance to be helpful and not hover. hovering. Well, I want to be helpful to you by answering your questions, but I can't answer them if I don't know what they are. So if you have a question you'd like me to share on a future you'd like me to answer on a future episode, send me that question to info@kevineikenberry.com or leave it in the comments below, and we will either create an episode from it or point you to where we've previously answered it. We've got lots of resources beyond these videos that you can find at kevineikenberry.com. Hope you will go to the blog to learn more and see all the resources we provide, both for free as well as resources we can help you and the leaders in your organization be more effective through our other services. I hope that you will do all those things. And I hope that you will make sure you do check out that blog, because there's all sorts of great stuff that will help you and other leaders in your organization. And I hope, lastly, that you'll be back with me again as we answer more of your questions in the future.